This is Mwamba, the Deco Queen. She turns spaces from mayo to wow. She could fly to China for new products, but why pick jet lag when you've got the Airtel Money Global Pay Card? No flights, no visas, just browse, pay, done. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your global pay card details, CVV, and expiry date. Simple. Be like Mwamba. Get your global pay card in the Airtel Money section of the My Airtel app and top it up straight from your wallet.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, boot.
When news breaks, we are already there. Welcome to Prime TV to Zambia, the channel that never sleeps. From community stories in your backyard to national headlines shaping the country and sports and international updates that keep you ahead, we bring it all to your screen. 24/7 news, fast, reliable, unmatched. Catch us on Topstar, channel 110. Watch live on Facebook, PTV2 Zambia. Prime TV2 Zambia, your window to the nation, your gateway to the world.
Hi, my name is Constance Nalishebo Mleawa, the mayor of Livingston. I also happen to be the 8th wonder of the world, and you are watching Prime TV2.
What do we stand for? We stand for possibility, for the belief that every tomorrow begins with a choice made today. We stand for growth, for curiosity that pushes boundaries, for knowledge that prepares you not just to adapt, but to lead. We stand for community, for minds that don't just think, but connect, for hands that don't just build, but uplift. We stand for experiences that shape you, for friendships that anchor you, for courage that carries you beyond this place. Here you become more than a student. You become a maker of solutions, a believer in dreams, a contributor to something greater than yourself. This is where purpose meets possibility. This is where futures are built. Charles Brook Bassar University, where you stand for what matters.
Lovely good morning, Zambia, and welcome to a very special edition of the Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on Prime TV2, the home of breaking news. Indeed, it is a very special edition because yesterday we were commemorating International Women's Day, and of course the holiday comes all through for today on a beautiful Monday like this one. And we're definitely excited to be back in the studio and to speak not only to the women but everybody else who is watching us right now. My name is Rhoda Mlenga, and of course I'm not alone in the studio. I am with the two beautiful ladies, obviously some familiar faces. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Rhoda.
Good morning, Naomi.
Good morning. It feels different to be here, but hey, we are one people.
Absolutely.
Different colors.
Indeed. And I do hope that you had a wonderful day yesterday as we commemorated International Women's Day. But of course, here on Prime TV2, the conversation still continues because empowering women is not just a one-day thing, but of course, it's an ongoing conversation. And of course, I do hope that you'll be having a lovely morning with us as we have these conversations with some lovely women that we'll be having right here with us.
Of course, a very warm welcome, like Rhoda has earlier alluded to, from wherever in the world you're joining us. We truly appreciate you choosing to start the day with us. Obviously, for most of you, it is a holiday, but for us, we have to be here and, of course, inform you as well as entertain you, educate you from wherever in the world you could be joining us from. You could be watching us from your homes. I'll tell you what, from wherever it is that you're watching us today, hope you had a beautiful celebration of the Women's Day, which was yesterday, but of course, the official holiday is today. And it wasn't celebrated, ladies, under an interesting theme, if you may ask me. Obviously, rights, justice, action for women. Rights mean nothing without justice, and justice means nothing without action. So hopefully you'll be able to actually even be able to act as we are on, this justice thing. And of course, the women conversations to continue for the next 2 hours. We will be unpacking stories, conversations, and real-life experiences that continue to shape our nation, especially those that highlight women's voices, leadership, as well as opportunities. Carol.
All right, so before we go any further, we want to remind the viewers that this is your show. You can be part of the conversation by simply dialing 0972-03-63006 or by joining the discussion in the comments section, and we are streaming live on our Facebook page. And remember that your voice matters, your perspective matters, and this platform belongs to you. But before we dive into the conversations, ladies, if you would want to take yourself back in time, what's on your mind today?
What's on our minds today? I don't know about you now.
If you take yourself back in time.
For me, basically, it's Women's Day celebration. Yesterday, I was really intrigued with what the president spoke into. There's a lovely picture that was going on. He's known for that, obviously, him and his woman. And he spoke into how there's no amount of action or, gifts, things that we can do for our women that can really, more or less like define who a woman is. In a nutshell, he was just speaking into how I think no amount of gifts can really identify who we are as ladies. And I really agree. Yesterday was just a day, not just a day that women were celebrated. Beyond that, we do know that we are the one that houses our families, we house our communities, even in the workspace. So really, it was a call to action, even just like the theme is able to speak into. So for those that actually were not celebrated yesterday, I would like to believe that you can actually do celebrate the women in your lives, the men. Celebrate your sisters, your wives, your colleagues in the office place, because we do so much. And for me, that is just basically what is on my mind, especially this whole month that we're celebrating women.
Absolutely right, Naomi. And of course, you said, what exactly was on my mind. And of course, just to add on, we do know that women are the backbone of our families and of course our communities, our nation, from the markets to the boardrooms, from the farms to the classrooms. Women do continue to shape the world with resilience, wisdom, and of course determination. But of course, yesterday and today, it's not only about celebration, but also it's about reflection and action. And many women are still facing a lot of challenges, including inequality, discrimination, and of course violence, which is another topic of discussion on the other hand. And too many girls are denied opportunities simply because of their gender. And we have been speaking about this for a very long time, that when a woman is educated, a family is empowered, and of course when a woman is given an opportunity, a community grows stronger, and when a woman rises, a nation rises as well. So those are some of the conversations that we will be having today. And you did also highlight that the president had mentioned quite a number of interesting points, which we will be talking about as we go on with the Sunrise Breakfast Show. But of course, now let's take a look at what we have lined up for our viewers this morning. And trust me, today's program is packed with powerful conversations. As always, we will begin by taking a look at some of the stories making headlines across the country, setting the tone for discussions that truly matter. And of course, later on the program, we'll be joined by Nkandu Belts, the founder and director of Belts Mining. Now, Naomi, mining is, of course, an industry that has traditionally been dominated by men, but Nkandu Belts has, shifted the view, and she's continued to, break barriers and establish herself as a leader in that sector. So we will be talking to her about women in mining, the challenges she has faced, and how women can play a bigger role in contributing to Zambia's economic growth and GDP.
Absolutely, Rhoda. Definitely looking forward to that interesting conversation that we'll be having with Nkandu Belts, our very own colleague here, also to look out for today. We totally have a packed show, and we'll be speaking to our very own Prime Television, Namangola Mushokobanji, who will be joining us on the program. Most of you have heard this voice. You've actually even seen her on TV. She's into, courts reporting. Many viewers know her as a journalist, obviously, who brings detailed, court stories. But today, we'll be finding out a little from her. What does it mean to just encompass work, family, and everything that you just basically, need to know when it comes to Namangolo? So definitely looking forward to how that conversation will be able to flow beyond the journalism. Also, how can we definitely be able to know her? I think women are out there, doing so much, and they can definitely be able to relate to her story. So be here for more and many more other things that we do have in store for you.
All right, absolutely, Naomi, you're right on that one. So as we move on, we'll also speak of empowerment. We also want to talk about economic empowerment, because conversation about women's progress must include financial independence. So later in the show, we will have a host who is Inno Kubwaliankole, who is the Business Development Manager at ASA Microfinance Zambia Limited. His organization provides loans and financial support to women and small business owners. So if you're a woman running a small business, I think this conversation is basically for you. In case you've been thinking of how you're going to start up a business, what business you can venture into, this is a conversation that you wouldn't want to miss. So ladies, if I may ask, do you have any business in mind in relation with our conversation today?
So many business ideas that we do have, personally, but certain times you just forget. It's business as usual. As usual, life gets so busy, and you're like, it's basically just work and other things. But also, the president has continually spoken into how we need to just diversify from, just working. How our backgrounds have been, even like from the school setup. We've been taught to go to school, get good grades, and get into employment. But the government will not be able to actually manage to employ each one of us. Hence, conversations of diversification and just speaking into how we should be business minded. So this is something that is something that we could actually even look into if we don't have business plans written somewhere. Now would be a good time to do that.
And on top of that, I think we will also be having a conversation in terms of finances, how to manage finances, how to be financially disciplined. Because I think as women, we are the victims of impulse buying. We don't know how to,
Absolutely. But also as women, we're multipliers. Research proves that if you give money to a woman, she'll be able to be the one that is multiplying and just, work around households, things, and just beyond that. But I do agree when it comes to impulse buying,
we like things.
But also March ladies is that month that we talk about financial literacy. So these are conversations that will be very helpful to the woman out there who's planning on diversifying, and just how can you also just increase your finances and build your family, build your community as well. So indeed, some interesting highlights that will be coming out from the biggest limitation is not ability, but it is society's expectation. And Ms. Luinda has clearly shown that women can succeed in any field if they are given the opportunity. But before we move into our discussion, let's take a look at the weather across as well as the money markets. Always very cardinal for you to check out with how the weather and money markets are faring for you to make better decisions with regards to your business as well as your movements when it comes to the weather. Exchange rates, their business there will open this morning, even though it's a holiday. So exchange rates, United States dollar was buying at 19 kwacha 13 ngwe and getting to sell at 19 kwacha 68 ngwe. The euro buying at 21 kwacha 99 and getting to sell at 22 kwacha 43 ngwe. The Great British Pound buying at 25 kwacha 7 ngwe and getting to sell at 25 kwacha 57 ngwe. The South African Rand buying at 1 kwacha 17 ngwe and getting to sell at 1 kwacha 19 ngwe. Not that these rates are indicative and of course may vary from bank to bank, even as we head to business day tomorrow. Those are your rates courtesy of the Bank of Zambia. Rhoda.
All right, interesting. Now, earlier on, you did mention Miss Luwinda, and obviously people are wondering who this person is. But just a backstory, we do have quite an interesting story that we'll be featuring on this program. And this is the story of a 52-year-old Gertrude Luwinda, a mother of 5, who has taken up a profession that many people still believe belongs to men, which is carpentry. Now, Miss Luwinda entered the carpentry trade after her husband abandoned the family and relocated to Kasama, leaving her with the responsibility of raising their children. So despite physically demanding nature of the work, she has remained determined and continues to compete with male carpenters in the industry. It is truly a story of strength, a survival and determination. So ladies, I do promise you that you don't want to miss out on this feature later on in the program. I just, I wanted to mention that because the Sunrise Breakfast Show is about diversifying and of course just showing you different pictures of certain stories. We do understand that there are women who are in an industry where they want to thrive, but it's a male-dominated industry. So we just want to shine the light on Miss Luwinda, who will be looking into details in terms of her story.
Absolutely. Miss Luwinda's story is definitely one of resilience and just us being able to break barriers and demystifications of which field women can be in. So very, very interesting story. If that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what does. Let's get away from our sponsors, which is Airtel. Airtel Village Banking has now been introduced, and you can jump on board by dialing *115#7. You will be able to follow the prompts, which are savings and insure, and you select 3, which is Village Banking, and select 1. You will read the terms and conditions, making it very easy, safer and convenient, transparent also for you or your groups to be able to serve, transact as well as grow. And what Airtel has done is that they're not changing how your group does Village Banking, but it has just incorporated how you can manage your finances safer. So the power is still in your hands. We're simply making it digital and safer. So jump on the winning today and join Airtel Village Banking, or you can go to their store, any Airtel store today, to find out more on how you can be part of the Village Banking Group and any other services that Airtel offers. Ladies, we all love to be part of the winning team now, don't we?
Yes, we
Obviously.
It's obvious. Okay, so for now, we have to take a look at the stories that are making headlines this morning. So now, A 30-year-old taxi driver of Chingola district has been shot dead while his friend is battling for his life after an identified man opened fire during a drinking spree. The incident happened around 22 hours on March 6, 2026 at Natmos trading area along Kabundi Road. Zambia Police Service Copperbelt Province Commanding Officer Mwalayuyi has confirmed the incident in a statement to PTV2 News and identified the deceased as Gift Chilambo. Let's take a look at the story.
A taxi rank in Chingola district has been engulfed with grief and sorrow following a shooting incident that left their colleague Gift Chilambe dead. The visibly shaken and tearful taxi drivers gathered to mourn the loss of their friend, who they described as a peaceful colleague who got along with everyone.
Family nashana umwana umunono sana wakwati afuira muzunga bati muntu bamutisha live tachiweme so trero mbakuri aba bantu barestefyo bareke priest papa tamishina yakwalesa waba kumudu priest papa bare katwa papa tanishi batu afu kozi na fubene to that kwate chirishi mwache wezo rangu te mwache waniona fyana nangu but nara kwate chirishi because tafuweme fitiki
ili ashirire tikamuno muchingora tatule umfa bwino tatuishibe nombo buyantanje go buleya otherwise nemfa tulefwa bwino so leza fyo mwine waishiba otherwise tatuli bwino kwe bantu.
Other taxi drivers have expressed a concern with the rising shooting incidents and leaving people dead in the district as a call to the Zambia Police Service has been made.
So tuledi la kwena mwebuteko twafweni na munefondo na fitwingila pamonga ifufe ma taxi drivers na tukatendo poesha kana tulasunga abafyashi so tulelomba security ibepo kwena mwafyashi koko parliament komuletu mfa mwafyashi tulefwa security ikose mune mchalo chesu twala ingilo no mwenso twala le kanoko bombenchi tweshitwa ingila kwena sapati twala kwa kuti tetu mtwali msango kwa tawishi ofyendere na ora umuntu te ifula ikifete to umuntu ati tumone choro kwete vinshi vidimu tetu mwebe so tero mbafe kubuteko utwafweko instead yonse kwefena clean up fena ngoni mayanda not pere nsambo na ngoni clean up fe mayanda fe unzamu chingora ko twala chura twakura enda no mwenso tero mba kufena clean up mayanda ko zabantu na bakwata mafaya mu ata sonkira ayo bare paira mu abantu nangu ifire twarufyo mu uyu brother weso.
Meanwhile, Cobalt Province Police Commanding Officer Mwalayuyi has confirmed the incident as saying a friend to Gift who was shot in the head is currently in a critical condition at Nchanga North General Hospital. Mr. Yui says police are currently investigating the matter with no arrests made. Reporting for Prime TV News, Derek Chitiamba in Chingola District, Cobalt Province.
All right, welcome back from that story. Obviously, that is currently one of the biggest stories trending on social media. And quite a number of people had a lot of things to say, especially from the people that were being interviewed and knew him on a personal level. I think he's somebody that was very famous in Chingola to the residents. And one thing that I did take note of is the fact that many people did say that, you know, the time that the miners were going to mine, there were a lot of transactions that were happening, including, you know, just miners buying illegal firearms from foreigners. And that is one of the biggest worries that people have in Chingola, that there's a lot going on in terms of firearms and people just using them inappropriately.
Very sad that we are here. I mean, this man been shot dead, Rhoda Caro, and the other one obviously battling for his life after this unidentified man opened, you know, fire during a drinking spree. I think these are things that we should be able to look into. You don't have to just open fire anyhow like that and putting people's lives at risk. Some sort of regulation with this regard will be able to, you know, come in and perhaps be able to stop this thread that is going on that side. But also, I'm thinking at 22 hours, what are you doing drinking outside? I know people are adults and they're able to do whatever it is that they want, but
I don't know if you guys saw the Sissy TV, you know, footage. I think it had circulated on social media a day ago. So it's really sad that, you know, that person that I think two people were shot, if I'm not mistaken, at that incident. I didn't see an arrangement where people were, drinking, or I think it was just outside where they said person that shot the two people had actually gone inside, followed the guy inside to an extent where he shot him and came back and shot the person that was actually outside. It's quite disturbing, if you watch that CCTV footage. But also we do have some comments. We did post the story on our social media platform. Gift Sourcey says, why killing innocent people? Only God knows. And Ichilingo, I don't know how to read.
I don't even know what that means.
Okay, so
what does Ichilingo mean?
I don't even know what that means.
Ichilingo chakwalisa, maybe. In
Like,
other terms,
okay, let me try to read this. So he says, and Ichilingo uleilingamo umunobe naive ho. I think there's some misspellings here, but I know what he's trying to say.
You're the only Bemba person who doesn't know how to read Bemba, Rhoda.
No, I'm not. I'm a Bemba born and raised in Lusaka. Let's add that to it. But anyways, I think he's just sympathizing, with family and friends here. A lot of comments, when you look at the comments, it's like this person was really known in Chingola, and I think he was quite a good young man from the comments that we're reading. He was really good to people, and it's sad that his life was taken short.
Absolutely.
And there is one comment that has really caught my attention by minority couple to say, please, such situations don't need to wait to anyone to act. If you know such people, come up with actions. So I feel like the enforcement should take actions, especially for people that go out at night drinking. They should just they should just bring up actions to say there'll be no one drinking at this particular time, because now we are losing life because of such incidents.
They can regulate. You know how the human being is.
Maybe more, in a nutshell, the police have more work to do. Just the other day was Police Day. I know we were celebrating them. We appreciate the work that they do, but of course there is also more work that is expected from them. To whom much is given, much is required. So there's a lot that is expected from the police to be able to just, bring sanity in our communities. Very sad that it's gotten to that. We never know when we are dying, hence, we have to act now. If there's anything that you want to do, especially today, as we're celebrating the woman, do not sit back, always find something to do with regards your hands. A little word from our sponsors, ladies, and then we'll be back on the other side with more stories.
Meet Mundia. He ditched the 9-to-5 to build his brand, and he's crushing it. With the Airtel Money Global Pay Card, he's not just buying ad space, he's building hype. He pays for ads the same way he sells most of his shoes. Online, fast, and always on. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your global pay card details, CVV, and expiry date. That's it. The Airtel Money Global Pay Card, that's what keeps it moving. Be like Mundia. Get your global pay card in the Airtel Money section.
After a long day of spreadsheets, traffic, and people saying circle back, Twambo just wants to stream his favorite show. But of course, his subscription expired. Good thing he's got the Airtel Money Global Pay Card for his global subscriptions. One tap and he's back in business. No panic, no drama. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your global pay card details, CVV, and expiry date. That's it. Show back on. Subscription paid. Couch life activated. Be like Twambo. Get your global pay card in the Airtel Money section of the My Airtel app and top it up straight from your wallet.
Airtel Money. Instant. Secure.
This is Mwamba, the Deco Queen. She turns spaces from mayo to wow. She could fly to China for new products, but why pick jet lag when you've got the Airtel Money Global Pay Card? No flights, no visas, just browse, pay, done. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your global pay card details, CVV, and expiry date. Simple. Be like Mwamba. Get your global pay card in the Airtel Money section of the My Airtel app and top it up straight from your wallet.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, but
Meet Suilanji. Curious, creative, always learning. New skills, global trends, she's in on it. Design or tech, she's exploring the best international options. And with the Airtel Money Global Pay Card, paying is the easy part. One quick tap and she's learning from the best. No stress, no visa, no problem. Even her parents are getting in on it. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your global pay card details, CVV, and expiry date, and that's it. Be like Suilanji. Get your global pay card in the Airtel Money section of the My Airtel app and top it up straight from your wallet.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
All right, that was a word from Airtel. Now we do continue with some of the stories making headlines in our news. President Hakainde Hichilema has reaffirmed his government's commitment to promoting and supporting women's rights, stating that women play a central role in human activities and national development. Now the president says the government will continue to create a conducive environment that allows women to thrive, adding their contributions to quality, justice, and development remain invaluable to the country's progress. Meanwhile, Human Rights Commission Chairperson Dr. Pamela Sambo has commended the government for enacting progressive policies that have strengthened the protection and promotion of women's rights. Namangolo Amshokabanji has the details.
Republican President Hakainde Hichilema led scores of women from all sectors in celebrating this year 2026's International Women's Day. President Hichilema has since committed to promoting and supporting women's rights, assuring of creating a conducive environment for women to thrive and realize their rights.
We as a country must deliver all the rights of women. Justice and act on the issue. We must not talk about them, we must act on them for all our women and girls to find space in our society, space, families, communities, society, country, and the world as a whole. They must not count that space is always available for them. We must ensure that it's visible. That space is visible. Not said, you can feel it, you can have it. So, for this to be realized, we need to invoke courage, unity, and indeed decisive action. In all the things that we do, we must not show doubts, we must show definitiveness, to demonstrate or to deliver opportunity to our women.
And agreeing to this decision, the Non-Governmental Gender Coordinating Council, the Human Rights Commission, and others have reviewed the milestones accomplished in achieving equal rights for women, however, acknowledging that more needs to be done.
The justice system has been reformed with anti-gender-based violence past reports in every province. We suggest that you of progress areas that have been made. However, the progress has been made, more still needs to be done. We accelerate the goal for the removal of bail and bond provisions for rapists, defilers, and end the expedited review of the GBV Act. Our
This year's International Women's Day is being celebrated under the theme Rights, Justice and Action for All Women and Girls. Reporting for Prime Television News, Namangolo Mshokawa.
Highlights, the president did issue a stern warning to perpetrators of gender-based violence, saying Zambia will no longer tolerate abuse of women and girls. He also did condemn those who exploit young girls, calling them cowards and urging men to respect women's rights and choices. He also emphasized that women are vital to society and human existence, stating that their contributions to equality, justice, and national development are invaluable, not forgetting that he also encouraged men and boys to respect women and their decisions, stressing that every woman and girl deserves dignity and equal opportunities. Just one or two of the highlights, that I did pick out from the president's speech.
Yes, Rhoda, Carol, yesterday was a hype of activities. We actually even did see Leswaniso leading the UPND Women March in Solwezi to just basically, commemorate Women's International Day. He also spoke into how, they're very optimistic that, the ladies, the women will be able to actually vote for UPND according to him, but also he expressed, gratitude to the ones that were actually even able to show up. The event was actually even graced by Northwestern Province Minister Robert Lihefu, who was also speaking at the sidelines of the event. So much was said yesterday, but beyond the speeches, beyond the pronouncements, we do hope that, some of the things that were spoken would actually even be actualized, even as we head towards the polls, and encouragement really to also just have a lot of parties. The parties should be able to ensure that, they pick women, on their ballot. So indeed, interesting conversations ahead, even as we're looking ahead of the 2026 general elections. But more stories still coming out on the show. Do not forget to keep it interactive by going to our different social platforms this particular morning and just weigh in on the conversations this particular morning and just let us know, what does it mean to be a woman, right? To you, those conversations can go on our different social platforms. Coming out from Senanga Central Constituency, Member of Parliament Walusa Malalika has urged residents in the district to take advantage of the verification of voters' cards by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. He notes with displeasure that despite having a good number of registered voters in the district, others opt to not take part in the voting exercise for no reason. He has encouraged every registered voter to take part in the forthcoming general election by ensuring that they vote for President Hakainde Hichilema. Here's a report.
Scores of residents from Imatongo Ward in Sananga District, Western Province, turned out in large numbers to attend a public meeting organized by the ruling United Party for National Development (UPND) in Ngobeta Plains. The meeting aimed to introduce the newly formed lower party structures and highlight the party's recent successes. Sananga Central Constituency Member of Parliament Walusa Mlaliki addressed the crowd discussing the various development initiatives and social protection programs being carried out by the government.
Bwakainde ko na babatisize zolopirieka ofela. Halu yanga kuyo ina ni bwakainde. Lulumelela nilikaze kuliletahe. Mikali lato labona bwakainde likaze litile. Hakize fela. Nibene basali bele likuhola halu ambola chona kafela bahola. Laka chenule ya hola mali hakimu bele kiwa muso fela. Laka chekule ive mchembele wa hola. Ibeli kwasha wa hola. Chwale. Mutu yoyo munde chwana akainde yalulata chwana. Yalutiserize zeka ofela. Uswane lakuli mwasinanga afumane 100%.
He also urged the residents to show their support by turning out in large numbers to vote for President Hakainde Hichilema on the 13th of August 2026.
Mwasinanga lunani butata bolo batakuli lufeze ndichwani. Butata bobuliteni kikuli baba ingolisanga kubota kibabangata. Kono alu yofita kwa kubota baba wotanga wanga baba inyani. Famu numwa alu batakuli molu ingoliselize kaofela dolweza chwani luyobota.
Meanwhile, UPND Provincial Youth Chairperson Jack Mwanga has warned aspiring candidates against using the name of the party before the right time.
Kaufela minafamu ma campaign managers ba Hakainde Hichilema. Esimanteleza kupo wape yaka mukilimu. Kubawe batunda mena kuipapata nako ya kuipapata aisika fitakale. Amuyemele SG lwezedizo parliament kona mukaka la kuipapata. Kuzwafa kuya kwa pata alusala takubona neba fama WhatsApp tu posta ta kuipapata.
Alubele kenye hamoho pumuloli bakenye kena district chairman wasinanga. Ma program kaofela mweza kaofela ona. Please, munibole leona. I am rallying behind you.
The community in Senanga expressed their satisfaction with the visible development in the area.
Nizolo pilieli teni mwase nangalu iboni ma CDF wa mwezi ni nani wababa mwaba mwezi CDF upiro bwaka buchinchize mwali ya CDF lwa itumela luboni likoloze ngata fa St. Jude luboni skolo sale sizwezi pili bana baluna baizi mwa boarding ni baikulu baluna baizi mwa boarding free through CDF.
For Prime TV News, Marcus Bransakwita reporting.
In other news, the Kabuta Health Post in Kabuta community of Kaole Ward in Bahati constituency of Luapula province is nearing completion, bringing hope for improved access to healthcare services in the area. The Kaole Ward Councillor Besa Kalumba says the health facility, which has been funded by the central government at cost of 1,360,000, is expected to benefit more than 5,000 residents from Kabuta and surrounding communities. Mr. Kalumba says the construction of the health post will help address the challenge of the long-distance residents have been covering to access healthy care. Here is a report.
In rural communities where distance often stands as a major barrier and transportation can be unreliable, local health posts play a critical role as a first point of care, offering immediate, affordable and life-saving health services. Residents of Kabuta community and surrounding areas in Mansa will soon no longer have to travel long distances to access healthcare services following the construction of a health post in the area. The facility, being constructed at a cost of 1,360,000 kwacha, has been funded by central government. Contractor Msonda Chimimba shared the scope of works being undertaken at the site.
I started to construct the roofing, plastering and all finishes. And the abrasion we started from foundation up to this level. And also we dug a borehole. Maybe this week we are going to erect water. Next week we have water here. This is a scope of work.
Meanwhile, Kaole Ward Councillor Besa Kalumba has highlighted the significance of the development in his ward.
Yes, the significance of this structure is that it is going to give a relief to Senama Level 1 Hospital and the Kapanda Main Hospital. Where it is seated, this facility is going to cater for over 5,000 people. Because the population which is in Kabuta, in Spark Extension, in Spark itself, in Nyamuna area and surrounding areas, there are a number of people. And then you can imagine most of these people were traveling all the way to Kapanda, which is about 7 kilometers. And if you go to Mansa or is it Senama Level 1 Hospital, you're going to find queues of people, sick people, seeking medical attention. But with the coming of this, it's a relief. It's a relief to our people.
Mr. Kalumba has also called on the Ministry of Health to ensure that the land allocated for the health post is secured to prevent encroachment.
You know, just behind this structure is a graveyard. And the issue of encroachment is one of the things that we've talked about with the local community. Because even now, people are still borrowing from the same. And if we are not to take any measure, you'll find that we are going to have burial sites here. But we'll make sure that we work with the Ministry of Health, because if you have seen for yourself, this structure is about 80%. It's about to be opened. And then the Ministry of Health should take up, make sure that this place is secured.
Pascal Mukabira, Prime TV News in Mansa, Luapula Province.
Right, welcome back. You're still with us right here on this very special Women's Day celebration. And I do hope that you're having a lovely time wherever you're watching us from. I do know that most of the women are, relaxing on a beautiful holiday like this one. But let's have a look at what's happening in terms of the papers and some of the headlines that we have. We'll start with the Mast. And the first headline that we see says, "Vote them out. Silumbe Msoni urges Zambians to remove UPND and restore hope." We also have another interesting headline here that says, "Economic hardships driving men to suicide." As we have seen that there is a rise in the number of suicide cases amongst men. I think we did have, an organization here, two beautiful women of God, that were speaking about some of the effects or some of the causes of mental health. And we can agree that economic hardships has really contributed to driving men to suicide. I don't know what you ladies think.
Absolutely. And we're just coming again from a generation, Rhoda, Carol, society that does not allow for the men to speak. Not that we don't necessarily allow them to not speak. The men themselves have been built to not allow themselves to pull out, allow themselves to cry. We've had conversations that speak into how no, men don't cry. Even the men from their homes, they'll tell their little boys, like, it's such statements that, we've been socialized to allow to speak to the community. But I think it's now time to break down such demystifications. It's okay for a man to cry. It's okay for a man to pull out. But of course, they have to also learn to pour in the right places, speak to the right people. It's sad that indeed we've had a number of cases of suicide, especially the men topping it out because of how they've been built up. They keep things inside them, and hence, I guess, leading to suicide. With us in the saloons, anywhere we step into, you speaking, and I think it helps out as you speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And also we see another headline that says, "Membe salutes women's role in national development." I think waking up to some of these headlines is quite amazing. At least they can all agree on one thing, that women play a vital role in national development. And it's quite good to see that our leaders are showing love and support to us, the women, and just encouraging women, especially in the political space, to just, voice out and also, take part in decision making. That reminds me that, coming up on the show, we'll be speaking to a very powerful woman who's raised the standards. I'm talking about the mayor of Livingstone, and we should be having, quite an amazing conversation with her. But let's move on and maybe let's see what we have in the Real Times.
Okay, so in the Real Times, we have Munia Zulu walks free, but question marks. But what? What do you think they have to say about it?
I think it's a very interesting headline. We did see, quite a number of opinions yesterday on social media, but just some key facts that maybe we might have forgotten is that Munia Zulu, who is the former Lumezi Member of Parliament, was actually released from prison after serving his 1-year jail sentence. He had been convicted for criminal libel after accusing government officials of receiving bribes. Zulu served his sentence at Mukobeko Correctional Facility before being released. So now, after walking free, he said he had experienced harsh conditions in prison, describing the experience as extremely difficult. He also reportedly indicated that he plans to leave Zambia, for a short period of time, and would only return when the political environment changes. I don't know what he means by the political environment changing. Maybe he's hoping that UPND will no longer be in power by the time that he returns. Some of the political implications: his release returns him to the public and political scene ahead of Zambia's 2026 general elections. Supporters and political observers expect him to remain active in opposition politics.
Some lessons, obviously, that would also be able to actually even come out from Munia walking free. I know that, the opposition half the times crawl foul, especially when they are arrested. But I think a word of caution to most of them to actually even be able to not speak things that they can't prove, because we constantly speak into how he who alleges must be able to prove. We do know some of the issues that laid him inside. I hope it's come out a reformed man. even, has he vies Lusaka Central. So those are the rumors that we're hearing. Also, it's good to see him out, but many lessons that the other politicians can be able to actually even pick from him now walking, free. Hopefully he has learnt a lesson as well, and some of the things that we did see taking place, hopefully they'll not be able to return. Let's get to check out what is coming out from the Times of Zambia. VJ urges youths to play a constructive role. Don't forget that it will be an interesting week up on the 12th. Youth Day celebrations coming up, and Solowezi will be the hype of activities, and hence the VJ speaking into how youths have to play a constructive role. Indeed, Mopani eyes 119,000 tons of copper. Shuma nets nut streak, and HH celebrates women, describes them as central to human existence. Indeed, HH castigates sexual abusers. Conversations even that were into yesterday's celebrations, as 1,000 turnout for Women's Day celebrations in the showgrounds was a hype of activities, as well as Solowezi. KK's 50 Years Legacy exhibition launched. It's very lovely to note that KK's 50 Legacy exhibition has been launched. This is the man that did so much for the country, and we continue to speak into how legacy is very, very important. When Rhoda Caro no longer walks by this earth, what are you going to be remembered by? Is the conversations. Will people even remember about you? So these are men that actually did so much for the country. 14.5 billion disbursed in February for public service delivery, and 11 nabbed for concealing murder of 3 in Senanga. These are some of the stories that are coming out from the papers this morning.
All right. And obviously the highlight of, is obviously what the president did say, but at the end of the day we get the overall message, which is focusing on ending gender-based violence, promoting women's rights, and of course increasing women's leadership and participation in national development. The theme being rights, justice, action for all women and girls. I love that, headline that's there on the Times of Zambia. But moving on, in the Daily Nation, HH chastises women, chastises girl child abusers. Obviously, same headline that we did see earlier. Parley behaves like a UPND branch, says Kamwili. Makebi pledges to bring back gender ministry. What do you think about bringing back the gender ministry? Was it quite useful?
Kara, what do you think?
It is useful, actually.
Yeah. I mean, especially that, this year's Women's Day was focusing on issues to do with gender. I think maybe it could help in terms of reducing, gender-based violence. I think in as much as we might look at it like there was really nothing
it was doing, it was
gender
playing.
Ministry was, at some point it was. It was actually very helpful, but I think maybe if it was to be brought back, they would need to look at some of the objectives and maybe the aim of why that ministry, would exist, looking at the bigger picture.
Absolutely. Bigger picture would be something that would be necessary. Did it play its role? Maybe it did. Did we want it to do more? Certainly we wanted it to do more. So maybe a lot have to go in place. Also, a lot has to go in place with regards, certain legislatives that would help perpetrators of GBV, just them getting to a place where a lot of conversations have fallen into space where we're told that a lot is not being done, hence, perpetrators of gender-based violence as well as, rape, molestation is taking place because then there's not so much that is done to these. There were conversations of how maybe you have co-vigil certain times of conversations, but I know the men did not agree to that, because then even when you go in and you're maybe deformed, people are speaking into how someone will not be able to live properly because then they're going in the correctional facility and they're supposed to come out corrected. And what will happen also if, you've inflicted pain on their bodies? So many conversations have to go in place.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So, yeah, a lot of people might wonder to say, what are the main roles and functions of this? So this can actually help promote gender equality and equity. So this ensures that women, men, girls, boys have equal rights, opportunities, and protection under the law. And also, it can also support and implementation of national gender policy, which is to coordinate national policies that ensure gender concerns and include in government planning and services, and also advocacy and communication, which raises awareness and about harmful laws, you know, discrimination, and encourages social changes, and also empowerment of women, which is very vital. So it works on programs that help women participate, politics, business, and also education and leadership roles.
Here's a message from Nelly Bijin, and I will be reading your messages as the rest of the show unfolds. Thank you so much. Keep them coming. Nelly Bijin says gender ministry didn't play its role apart from them going for tea and coffee in their offices. So for me, we're better off without it.
I think with everything that has been said, looking at what women have gone through, I feel like they're going to do it better this time around, since they've done it before.
I mean, like I said, with a different government, I think there is room, you know, for improvement, and maybe also sitting down and looking at what exactly is that ministry meant for? What would they be doing? Is it going to be helpful? Because I think sometimes, you know, certain organizations that are put up, or we can call them organizations, it's just there for show.
Toothless.
Toothless, boneless, toothless and boneless, you know, just for show, so people can have employment and say, you know, there's something that we're actually doing. But anyways, that's a conversation for another day. We do move on, and of course, like Naomi said, we'll be reading some of your text messages. You can be able to also just comment on our live Facebook feed, that is, of course, PTV2 Zambia. Be sure to like the page before you actually comment, and share it as well, because today is indeed an amazing you know, show where we get to celebrate women and just remind ourselves that, you know, we are very important, and there are struggles, certain struggles that we go through that we can overcome if we are united as women. Now let's have a word from Blue Band, and we'll later check out what happened in history and a bit of some Did You Know teasers. And when we return, we will be joined by a special guest later on, of course, Nkandu Belts, the founding director and chief executive officer of Belts Mining. Do not move.
Hi, my name is Constance Nalishebo Mleawa, the mayor of Livingston. I also happen to be the 8th wonder of the world, and you are watching Prime TV2.
Early in the morning, fire on the stove, love in a pie, that's the life we know. From the fields to the table, every bite it shows. Primarily me, the taste of home. Primarily me.
Emil meal. Pure, proudly Zambian. The taste of home.
Henna mulijisi idekoda ya Topstar amwebele magani atugwa munchili aga simpe amu masena momukala ambunga abahimu wezelela twambo bahi omega abahimulimo twamwetela magani muhyogo yonse hajihi ana majaja wa Prime TV2 channel 110 ninganda ile tamagani mbwabele.
Before 2022, millions of Zambian children stayed home, not because they didn't want to learn, but because school was unaffordable for many families. Today, things are much better. No more tuition fees, no more PTA fees, and no more examination fees. More than 2.5 million children are back in class across the country, from villages to towns, from the cities to the districts and provinces. Schools are feeding our children and classrooms are full again. And with the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund, communities around Zambia are transforming education. More classrooms are being built, more desks are being made, more teachers are being hired. Because Bali cares. He has delivered this for all children across Zambia. Because free education is not just a policy, it is a promise to every Zambian child, a promise that poverty will not decide their future. A promise delivered.
This is Mwamba, the Deco Queen. She turns spaces from mayo to wow. She could fly to China for new products, but why pick jet lag when you've got the Airtel Money Global Pay Card? No flights, no visas, just browse, pay, done. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your Global Pay Card details, CVV, and expiry date. Simple. Be like Mwamba. Get your Global Pay Card in the Airtel Money section of the My Airtel app and top it up straight from your wallet.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Meet Suilanji, curious, creative, always learning. New skills, global trends, she's in on it. Design or tech, she's exploring the best international options. And with the Airtel Money Global Pay Card, paying is the easy part. One quick tap and she's learning from the best. No stress, no visa, no problem. Even her parents are getting in on it. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your Global Pay Card details, CVV, and expiry date, and that's it. Be like Suilanji. Get your Global Pay Card in the Airtel Money section of the My Airtel app and top it up straight from your wallet.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Meet Mundia. He ditched the 9-to-5 to build his brand, and yeah, he's crushing it. With the Airtel Money Global Pay Card, he's not just buying ad space, he's building hype. He pays for ads the same way he sells most of his shoes. Online, fast, and always on. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your Global Pay Card details, CVV, and expiry date. That's it. The Airtel Money Global Pay Card, that's what keeps it moving. Be like Mundia. Get your Global Pay Card in the Airtel Money section.
After a long day of spreadsheets, traffic, and people saying circle back, Twambo just wants to stream his favorite show. But of course, his subscription expired. Good thing he's got the Airtel Money Global Pay Card for his global subscriptions. One tap and he's back in business. No panic, no drama. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your Global Pay Card details, CVV, and expiry date. That's it. Show back on. Subscription paid. Couch life activated. Be like Twambo. Get your Global Pay Card in the Airtel Money section of the My Airtel app and top it up straight from your wallet.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless. When news breaks, we are already there. Welcome to Prime TV2 Zambia, the channel that never sleeps. From community stories in your backyard to national headlines shaping the country and sports and international updates that keep you ahead, we bring it all to your screen. 24/7 news, fast, reliable, unmatched. Catch us on Topstar, channel 110. Watch live on Facebook, PTV2 Zambia. Prime TV2 Zambia, your window to the nation, your gateway to the world.
Kodi muli ndi decoder ya Topstar
Ngati muli nayo, onererani kanema ku channel yatsopano ya Prime TV 2 Zambia pa channel 110 kuti mumvetsere ku nkhani zothyakuka mwatsatanetsatane. Izi ndi nkhani zochitika ku madera amene mukhala ndi kwina. Mogwira ntchito pamodzi ndi akatswiri pa nkhani zotola ndi kulemba nkhani, tidzakupatsirani nkhani zomveka bwino komanso zogwira mtima zitangochitika. Prime TV 2 Zambia, nyumba yanu ya nkhani zongochitika kumene.
Some kids are just a step ahead. The winning difference? A spoonful of Blue Band. The only one with the right levels of omega-3 and 6. Blue Band, a spoonful of difference.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. You are still watching Women's Day right here on Prime TV 2. Now, journalism is often seen as a glamorous profession. Cameras, the lights, microphones, and the opportunity to be at the center of the major national conversations. But behind that image lies a profession, lies the demand, the courage, the long hours, and also resilience and unwavering commitment to truth. This morning, we want to bring you closer to one of the journalists who works tirelessly behind the scenes to keep the public informed. I am joined by our very own beautiful lady, Namangolwa Mushokabantu. Good morning to you, Namangolwa.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
It's good. You're looking nice, like an African woman.
Thank you so much.
Well, who is the inspiration behind today's look?
Well, it's Women's Day and we're celebrating women, so I thought I'd take it a little bit motherly way.
I see. That is really beautiful to have you right here. So before we start our conversation, if you were to go back in time as a younger self, what advice would you give to yourself, looking at how far you've come?
Well, if I was to go back in time, I would tell myself to have done things a little better because I've realized that I had wasted a lot more time doing things that were not actually contributing to my good.
Really?
Yes. So I realized a little later, but hey, here we are. So I would tell my younger self to would have realized a little later that I have to be responsible and I have to take up a leadership position and be an example to the young girls out there.
Okay, so can you tell us your background, what inspired you to be who you are as a journalist?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm a lady who was born and raised in Western Province. I'm Lozi by tribe. So I grew up in the village, if I'm to mention. I grew up in the village, so life was a little bit difficult. So growing up, would see our fellow age mates getting the easy way out, and so it motivated me to want to work hard, and also I wanted to be like the other people who had it the easy way. So because of that hardship that was impacted on me at an early age, it helped me to grow into a responsible person. So I actually worked my way through and became what I am today.
Interesting. That is really an interesting story to see that you've come this far. So every journalist has that moment that sparks their interest in their profession. What inspired you to become a journalist?
Well, we used to watch the likes of Doreen Mukanzo growing up, so we would watch TV and see these veteran journalists doing their thing. So I would think, if these people are speaking for the voiceless, they bring action in the work that they do, they bring a change in the society. So that inspired me. I also wanted to be that one particular person who would make a difference in somebody's life, in the community, and just bring development to the people and speak for those who can't speak for themselves. So I was inspired, and I decided to take the path of becoming a journalist, because this gives me a platform to engage with the community, to engage with duty bearers, to hold accountable those that are supposed to be held accountable.
So it was just like basically a passion for, storytelling.
Yes, yes, and wanting to be the one that brings the change in that story. There's always storytelling, but then you want to be the one that brings the change, the good impact that comes with the storytelling.
All right. So in the media industry, mentorship and role models can play a huge role in shaping one's career. So are there journalists, either locally or internationally, who have inspired your work and the way you approach your stories today? And what are the lessons that you have learned?
Well, I've learned a lot of lessons from our local journalists just within the country. For example, like I gave on the Doreen Mukanzo personality, she has inspired me a lot, because I've seen her do her thing, do stories that bring impact to the community. So I also wanted to walk that path. I also wanted to be a voice for those who can't speak for themselves.
Yeah, voice for the voiceless.
Exactly. So because I also grew up in a community where we didn't have adequate water, clinics were far away from where we used to stay. So I would think, if I was a person who would speak for the people, to say we need these clinics to come closer to the people. We need clean drinking water to come closer to the women, especially the marginalized, the women and the children. So I would be inspired and think to myself, if I was the person to speak for these people, because most of the times these people don't actually know their rights. They don't even know what government is supposed to do for them. So when you are that person who goes to the community, you engage with these people, you let them know these are your rights, this is what you deserve, and you can get these things if you do these other requirements that you need to do. So I'm actually fortunate to be that kind of person who speaks for these people.
Interesting and amazing. At least we have somebody who can speak on behalf of the community, in case there are problems in the society, running out of, all the resources that they might want to use as a community. At least they have you as their voice, So now let's talk about the beat you are, known for, the beat that you're known for, rather. So court reporting. Many journalists shy away from covering such stories, especially when it comes to the court and the complex of legal language and producers involved. Why did you choose the beat, and what motivated you to specialize in court reporting?
Oh, wow. I actually didn't choose the beat. The beat chose me.
It chose you, so you were just running with it.
Yes, yes.
Dancing to the beat, like they can say.
So in my line of reporting, there are certain stories that I would do that would actually end up in the courts of law. For example, I would cover...
Isn't it a little bit intimidating, standing in front of the judges, the courts? There's just something, the air changes, in the atmosphere changes in the room. There's that court breeze that usually shakes you. How did you manage to cope with everything?
Well, it gets easy with time. As I at the beginning of my court reporting, it used to be very difficult, because I wouldn't know how to maneuver my way around, how to get certain information, and how to bring out a story from the court point of view. But as time went on, I got used, because you have to understand that the courts operate on the laws of the country that are laid down in the Constitution. So if you go to the courts as a reporter, there are certain things that are expected of you to just do. And also, if you go there as an accused person is actually a person who's brought before the courts and they are alleged to have committed a certain offense. So that's an accused person. So if you're brought before the court as an accused person, there are certain things that are expected of you to do. So the court gets better because it's guided by laws, it's guided by the Constitution, and if you follow through whatever you're expected to do, you will not come into conflict with anybody from the courts or the law enforcers, because you're doing the things that you're supposed to do. So it's guided by a laid down procedure. So in my court reporting, I actually follow the said rules, that the rules and regulations that are guiding the courts. And on my reporting, I know there's certain information that I'm not supposed to talk about, and there's certain information that I'm supposed to talk about. For example, there's juvenile offenders, these young people who are below the requirement of being an adult. They come in conflict with the law. So these cases are sensitive cases, because these are juveniles that we're reporting on. So there's a way that we have to report report on juvenile offenders. So as a court reporter, I have to be conscious, I have to take note, I have to protect the rights of that juvenile offender. And if I'm to mention, you know, everybody is innocent when you're brought before the courts. You're innocent until you're proved guilty by the courts of law. So just because somebody is an accused person, for example, the juvenile offender, I'm not supposed to report badly on them and injure their rights, or maybe, and just to mention, even as a court reporter, you can come in conflict with the law in your line of reporting. We've had instances where some court reporters have actually been imprisoned.
What?
Yes, we've had journalists getting imprisoned because maybe they reported wrongly on a court story. So that's called contempt of court. So in our reporting, you have to be extra careful. You report accurately, you report the truth, you don't add, you don't subtract, you actually, in fact, we even have a duty to actually simplify the language, because not everybody will understand the court reporting, the court language. So as a court reporter, you simplify the said language so that an ordinary human being, an ordinary viewer can actually understand what happens in the courts.
Okay, so Namangolwa, courtrooms can be intimidating, not only for journalists, but also for citizens, ordinary citizens. So how do you manage to translate complex legal language into stories that ordinary viewers can easily understand?
Thank you so much for that question. Just like I mentioned, the courts are a complex place where we have to report and simplify the language. So for me to help somebody understand the court story that I'm trying to put out there, I first of all have to understand it myself. If I understand the court story, then I simplify the language so that an ordinary person can understand. And here is an example as well. So there are certain people who come to court, and if they know that you're a court reporter, they'll come to you and tell you their story. No, I think I've been treated unfairly. There's this land, it has been grabbed from me. And just because they've reported to you first, they think you have to report in their favor. But it doesn't work like that. The courts follow the laws, they follow the Constitution. So even if you are the first person to complain over a matter, it doesn't automatically make you the correct person. Because you reported it first, you are in the position to say, no, I'm the one who's correct and the other person isn't correct. The courts will follow what does the Constitution say? What does the law say? So those are certain instances where you see somebody go and get a judgment, and maybe it's not in their favor after the prosecution has concluded its case. And these persons will start to cry foul, but I'm the one who came to court first. What they should understand is that the courts follow the Constitution. They follow laid down procedure. So it's the laws that guide the courts.
So it's not about who comes first.
Exactly. It's not about who comes first. And also here's the fairness in this whole issue. The courts don't look at somebody's wealth. They don't look at your color. They don't even look at your political affiliation. They're actually independent. They actually prosecute matters based on evidence. So even if you own all the cars in this country, you own all the houses, if you come in conflict with the law and you're on the wrong side and they bring you to court, the prosecution will actually prosecute you. And if they find you guilty, it doesn't mean, no, just because he has a lot of money, he's going to walk out free. So it's interesting to say, I've also covered stories involving former duty bearers. For example, the likes of former Lusaka Province Minister Bowman Lusambo. You know, he was once the mighty Bowman Lusambo, but then he was alleged of having acquired property that belonged to the state, and when he was prosecuted, the courts actually found him guilty.
So it doesn't matter whether you're a public figure, a political person, court is court.
Yes, court is fair.
Yes, fair, nothing like that.
Exactly.
All right, thank you so much for that. So just explain more, elaborate more.
Yes, so for example, there are also other situations where you as a court reporter, I'm speaking now from the experience that I've had from the courts, yes. There are certain stories that I would cover. For example, a 5-year-old girl has been sexually abused by the biological father. And yes, medical reports have shown and have proved that this particular girl has been abused. But when they said accused person, the perpetrator has been brought before the court, the alleged perpetrator, because he's innocent until proved guilty. When they said alleged perpetrator is brought before the courts, And because the prosecution don't have enough evidence to prove that this man actually did this to the little girl, we've seen certain people walk free and they walk the streets. So that's very heartbreaking for me as a court reporter, because I know this girl has been injured. There's a medical report clearly showing that this girl has been abused. But because there's no evidence to show that this man is actually the one who did this, we see certain people walk free. And it's all called court reporting. You have to just march through. Yes.
Despite you being in pain and putting yourself in that person's space away from work.
Yes, yes. So those are some of the things that I go through as I report on court stories.
Heart of a woman, heart of a woman. Okay, so there is something important that I would like to ask you, Namangolwa. So when reporting a court case, you know, journalists often deal with sensitive information, public emotions and legal restrictions. So how do you balance the responsibility of informing the public while also ensuring fairness and accuracy in your reporting?
Yes, I ensure fairness and accuracy, firstly by reporting the stories as they are in court. I don't add, I don't subtract, I just report the cases as they are. Yes, and there are certain times, like the example I just gave of a 5-year-old girl, I would feel that maybe justice has not been served, but I'm not the adjudicator. I'm not the one who has to say that this man is actually guilty. Because sometimes as a court reporter, you have to remove your emotions. I'm emotionally attached to this little girl because I've been covering the story from the beginning of the case. I've been moving with this family when they go to the university teaching hospital to run some tests on the girl. So I become attached to that particular victim. But when reporting, I have to report the case as it is. I have to remove my emotions. I have to report the truth when it happens, and just be accurate in my reporting. So those are some of the things that actually get to me as a court reporter. But I ensure that in the end, the story is brought out as it is from the court's point of view. If the evidence was enough, if the evidence wasn't enough, as the court have put it, it's the court that decides, actually. I have to detach my emotions. There are certain times that I actually declare interest.
Really?
Yes, there are certain stories, for example.
But doesn't that affect your career in any way? You say you have to report, so you don't have to attach your feelings. This is professional. In as much as you may think to say, no, this is not right, this is what the situation is all about, doesn't that affect your career?
It doesn't affect my career, but it affects me emotionally. Because there are certain stories that I come across. For example, a fellow journalist has been brought before the court. There's the example I can give is there's a journalist, Derek Singela. He was actually reporting from the courts as a court reporter, and he misreported, and he did contempt on the court. So this journalist was actually convicted. He was tried and convicted after he was found that, in fact, he actually did misrepresent the court, and he was imprisoned. So that's another story that I can't overlook, and I had to cover that particular story. It depends with the amount of offense that
Can be years?
It could be years, it could be months, it could be a suspended sentence, but all in all, these are just rare cases. Mostly journalists, court reporters actually do their background search. They actually research, they actually engage with the prosecutors, they engage with the lawyers, just to make sure that they have accurate information, that they have truth to the story that they're bringing out. So the Derek Singela story, I was also supposed to cover him, but I had to declare interest because this is a colleague I've been working with, and it's just misrepresentation of the court. So these are certain instances where, as a court reporter, I feel I'm emotionally attached to a certain story and I have to declare interest. But it's just once in a while.
Okay, so Namangolo, I understand that you are a mother. Okay, so and journalism is a profession that does not operate on a strict to, let's say, 8 to 5 schedule. So breaking news can happen at any time. How do you manage to balance the demands of being a mother while also maintaining a demand career in journalism?
Thank you so much for that question. Well, like you mentioned, journalism is not timed. Breaking news can be at any moment. So in as much as I'm attached to the courts, I also do other stories. I remember, is it just last week when I had knocked off from work, it was around 20 hours, when I received a call from my supervisor, the editor. He actually told me there's been an accident on the Great North Road, you have to rush there. And this is 20 hours I've already knocked off. But you know, being a journalist, you are never off duty. I had to just put on my shoes and get on the road, and I headed to the crime scene. So this is actually some of the things that we pass through as journalists. You have to balance between being a mother and also your work. So to mention, I'm a mother of 2 girls.
Wow.
I'm married, and so I have to balance. I have to be home for the girls, and I also have to be here for work.
Being
I have
a career woman, and a wife, and mother to children. Wow, that's a real woman, strength of a woman. So Namangola, moving on. Every career has moments that test our strength. So was there a time in your life, you know, you had your lowest moment in your journalism career so far?
Yes, I actually had covered a story just recently involving a child who was defiled by the biological father. The girl is aged 10 years old, and so this girl was defiled by the biological father. And so to mention, the girl was very vulnerable. When the case was brought to court, I actually interacted with the said mother to the girl, and this woman looked me in the eyes and told me that I actually prefer to have my husband at home than have the little girl. So she said the girl can be taken under custody by government through the social welfare department. So these are cases that just break you down as a journalist. Imagine there's this 10-year-old girl, she's been abused, and you have to speak for her, and the people that are protecting her, for example, the biological mother chooses her husband, the perpetrator in this matter, over her own child. So these are stories that will just break you down. The little girl is currently under social welfare and is being kept by government, and this woman is at home enjoying her life.
Wow.
And not minding what is happening to the child. So these are stories that just get to you as a human being. This is just beyond my work. This is Ubuntu. You just feel for the girl. These are the voices that we need to amplify. These are the people that we need to speak for.
All right, because of time, Namangolo, so finally, I would like you to directly look into the cameras, you know, and speak to young people, you know, watching us this morning, and also someone who dreams of becoming a journalist and but is unsure about pursuing this profession. What advice would you give that person?
Well, to any person, either boy or girl out there who's looking to pursue journalism, I would advise them to take up this career, because this is a brilliant career that brings you in contact with communities, it brings you in contact with duty bearers, it gives you an opportunity to do your work and bring a change to the society. You be the change that the community needs. So this is a career that will bring you and it will take you places. I've been to State House several times. I like to mention.
You're going behind the house.
Yeah. So this is a career that will make you the change in your society, that will make you be and have an impact on the people around you. So journalism, if you're willing to take up that, please do so with no hesitation.
All right, so it was amazing to have you in the studio with us, just to shed more light on those people that would want to actually take the profession of being a journalist. I'm sure our viewers have learned 1 or 2 things, and there's somebody out there who has definitely inspired you to become a journalist. But continue watching our women's show. For now, let's take a break and we'll be right back. Do not go anywhere.
Hi, my name is Constance Nalishebo-Mleabai, the mayor of Livingston. I also happen to be the 8th wonder of the world, and you are watching Prime TV 2.
some kids are just a step ahead. The winning difference? A spoonful of Blue Band. The only one with the right levels of omega-3 and 6. Blue Band, a spoonful of difference.
After a long day of spreadsheets, traffic, and people saying circle back, Twambo just wants to stream his favorite show. But of course, his subscription expired. Good thing he's got the Airtel Money Global Pay Card for his global subscriptions. One tap and he's back in business. No panic, no drama. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your Global Pay Card details, CVV, and expiry date. That's it. Show back on. Subscription paid. Couch life activated. Be like Twambo. Get your Global Pay Card in the Airtel Money section of the My Airtel app and top it up straight from your wallet.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Special Women's Day edition, and we're very, very excited from wherever in the world you're joining us from. Keep the conversation going on our different social platforms. We'll be glad, we're definitely glad to hear from you this particular morning on Top Star channels 103 and 110. You can also catch us on GoTV, DRS-TV, and on our various digital platforms, Facebook, YouTube, PTV2 Zambia, and Prime Television. Now, Zambia is a country blessed with vast mineral resources, yet for decades, the mining sector has largely remained male-dominated, with women significantly underrepresented both in leadership and technical roles. However, the narrative is slowly beginning to change across the country. A number of women are stepping into spaces that were once considered inaccessible to them, and they're not just participating. They are leading, innovating, as well as transforming industries. And this morning, I am super excited and just, privileged to host one such trailblazer, a woman who has dared to break barriers in one of the most demanding sectors of the country. I'm speaking to Nkandu this morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm super excited to host you. Looking lovely, and happy Women's Day.
Oh, thank you. Happy Women's Day to you too, and to all the women out there.
Absolutely. How did you spend your day yesterday, and how will you be spending it later on today?
Well, so yesterday we spent the day at the Agriculture Showgrounds with hundreds of women. So it was really incredible to see, how far we've come as a country, and just, be inspired by what everyone else is doing, and then also to talk about, the real issues that we are facing, and not only just for the women, but also including girls, So there's been we've seen a lot of increase in violence towards young girls. So it's, how do we protect the girl child as well? So those are some of the topics that we're talking about. And then later I spent the afternoon with a number of women, incredible women, and we were playing bingo.
Right, that's very exciting stuff there.
Yes.
So how do you interpret this year's theme, Rights, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls?
Well, I think the way I interpret it, it's actually very personal for me, because when we talk about rights, and especially when we talk about the mining sector, having a job is a basic human right. And when we look at the numbers for us women in mining at the moment, they're quite low. But we also have to bear in mind that Zambia is relatively a young country. We've only been mining for about 100 years, but we need the numbers, we need to vamp them up, the numbers need to increase. And when we're talking about justice, poverty, it's an unjust thing to go through. So we need to create those jobs because, we're impeding on people's rights and justice. So we need to get everyone out of poverty, and we can do so because this country is so blessed.
Absolutely, Nkandu, we're very blessed with the vast of mineral resources. And for somebody who is watching us today and they may not be very familiar with your journey, who is Nkandu Belts?
Oh, so Nkandu Belts is actually an introvert. So I was born in Katete at St. Francis Hospital, which still remains one of my favorite hospitals. I don't know why. But yeah, so I grew up in Katete, and then later we moved on to the Copper Belt. So I'm a Ndola girl. Yes. So in Mshili Bonano, so like all my Kopala people.
I also speak Bemba.
Oh, sana sana fye chibemba tulalanda so twashita interview mu chibemba, or we can go back to English so that others can also understand. And then I spent part of my formative years in Botswana and the Netherlands, and then more than half of my life in so I did a lot of poetry, I did a lot of drama, I did a lot of debate. So hence the love of writing and also looking at the community, because even as a child, we were never asked questions in our household like, what do you want to be when you grow up? It was poverty. I want to solve that. So in a nutshell, that is who Nkandu is. Get into the mining spaces. I used to be in media, and I was doing a segment for Africa Down Under, which is Australia's largest mining conference with a specific focus on Africa. And Australia and the vendors in Zambia, because there's so much copper here, and then there's so much money in Perth. It's the mining capital of the world. So and that's when I started to connect the two. And then later I realized I could actually set up my own exploration company and contribute to the Zambian dream. At the moment it's like, does Zambia move you? Yes, it moves me. That's why I'm back.
Right. Home is where the heart will always be. And I know that you're also operating in a sector where leadership positions have historically been occupied by men. When you first entered the industry, did you encounter skepticism or with regards resistance simply because you are female or you're a woman?
Yeah, I think it was a 50-50, because I have people that actually believe and support in our dream, in our goal, and in me as a person, as well as a leader and a CEO. And then we do also have a number of people that think, women should not be at the mine site. So like, for example, recently I was having a talk with somebody who believed that women in the mining sector are at a detriment, because when the woman is on site, they will not find the copper or the gold or the emeralds, which is absolutely not true. So there's these myths around women and leadership in the mining sector. But we need to debunk those. And then I also have this saying, which is very common, where people say, if you're not invited at the table, go and make your own table. And that has been my journey, because when I started, I wanted to sit on some of the boards in Perth, the ASX listed boards, but I could not, because one, I didn't have the technical skills, I didn't have the financial backgrounds, and I didn't even have the legal knowledge, even though, I could call myself an expert on Zambia. So when all of that was denied, I decided to come back home, set up a company here, and start working with Perth so that, we can create a win-win situation for our people here and then also for Perth. So people will always undermine you, but, it's a good thing, because then it gives you the chance to actually show them what you're capable.
Speaking of showing them what you're capable, did you have to prove yourself? How long did you have to prove yourself? Did you actually even have to prove yourself with regards competence and leadership? That leadership has nothing to do with gender, but how long did it take for you to also have to prove that I can do it? I deserve to sit on the table.
I think it took about 2 years. And I started, and I made sure that, because mining, when we talk about mining or an exploration company, we look at it like a four-legged, table. You need the technical, you need the legal, you need the finance, and then there's, like me, the all-rounder, and then there's also the ESG component. So it took about 2 years for the industry to actually realize, oh, she's not here to play. Because I remember I was talking to one of the most prominent mining people in Perth when they invited me to come and give a keynote at this massive event, and I asked them, I said, well, this is quite big, why would you have me give the keynote? And he said to me, because a lot of people can't pronounce my name, so he goes, Nkandu, we can no longer ignore you.
So when you're doing something, you will not be ignored. There's always someone that is watching, so we are told. Many women say the biggest barrier is not ability, but access to capital, access to networks, as well as opportunities. From your experience, do you believe that mining sector in Zambia truly provides equal opportunities for women, or are there still structural barriers that need to be addressed?
Well, we do have a lot of barriers, that needs to be addressed. So access to finance is one of the biggest issues for a lot of women in this sector. And we also have to realize that, exploration especially is not cheap. Exploration is capital intensive. So in order for you to find something that's really tangible, you're looking at least, putting in at almost $1 million, for you to get to a drilling phase. And not everyone has $1 million, in their bank account or lying, around. So, and then, and for women, especially if you don't have the experience of running an exploration company, that is a lot of risk money. So a lot of the time the investors will be like, okay, will I lose my money? If I don't lose it, will I get it back? And if I get it back, when do I get it? And one of the things that I do discourage women to do is to get into debt financing for early stage exploration, because that can lead to so many problems. So we do need help, especially with the financing aspects in our industry. We do need help with technical information because Zambia has been underexplored, and recently we are seeing where the government is actually mapping out the country, and this is a good thing. I hope that information will be available very soon so that we can make informed decisions. But yeah, it is quite a massive challenge, but we are equal to the task.
Right, it's great to know that you're equal to the task. Mining is one of the largest contributors to Zambia's GDP and a major driver when it comes to employment, yet women remain a minority in the sector. What practical steps can be taken to ensure that more women participate meaningfully in the mining value chain as well as from exploration of leadership? I'm
glad you brought up the word value chain because, when we're talking about mining, so like for example, when we talk about, let's say our Ndola project, we pick up, the Ndola project, and once we finish our exploration, if we find something really tangible, we would probably be looking at maybe employing 10,000 people, yeah? And that is just direct employment. And then if everything goes to plan, we would be looking at least about 40,000 in direct jobs. So this could be within the Copper Belt and then also across the country. So when we're looking at jobs in the sector, it's not only things like become a metallurgist or become a geologist or a geophysicist, or there's other aspects like finance, for example. We need a chief financial officer, we need lawyers, and the other day I was even saying we need doctors because usually on camp you have a clinic. We need nurses, we need cleaners, we need nutritionists, We need people to make things like this, the jewelry, this is all copper. So the mining industry is a place, and it's an industry where, everyone can work. You can be a PhD holder or you can have the most basic skills. There is a job for you with us in the industry.
Right, there is a job for us in the industry. Let's speak into policy also. Government has been encouraging citizens' participation in mining as well as supporting women's empowerment initiatives. Do you then believe that current policies are sufficient to support women entrepreneurs in mining, or is there more that government can be able to do?
Well, I think at the moment when I look at the policies that are in place, I think we need to wait and see, the results from the implementation. Like I said earlier, Zambia is relatively a very new, country to mining, and we are just also a very young democracy when we compare ourselves to other, countries. So I am very keen to see how these current policies are actually going to, the tangible outcomes, because they've just been implemented, some of them. So yeah, I'm yet to see.
Right, and just looking ahead also, what does the future for women in Zambia's mining industry look like? We do know that there was the 2026 Indaba, mining Indaba that did take place in South Africa, recording breaking momentum and of course the largest attendance in the event's 32-year history.
Yes.
I like that it was also celebrated under an interesting theme, Stronger Together, Progress Through Partnerships. What does that mean also for our country, encompassing the Indaba and just what looks ahead?
Well, what looks ahead, it's actually quite interesting and it's fascinating. We're seeing the numbers, we've moved from, I think, from 7.6% of women participation. I think now we're sitting maybe about 12, if I'm not mistaken. So the numbers are slowly increasing, but we could do better. Stronger together, yes. If we want to get to where we want to as a country, we do need to work together. We need to collaborate, because there is no country, whether be it Canada or Australia, where the mining industry or the entrepreneurs in the mining sector are working by themselves. It's all about collaboration. That's what we need to do.
Right. Even as we collaborate, are we moving fast enough towards gender inclusion, or progress is still slow?
Progress is still very slow, and I say this because there's a lot of things that we need to change. So one is the myths, around women in mining. And then two, I will be very frank, we need to stop the sexism in the industry, because, that in itself, it's not pretty. There's a lot of, hard things that we are dealing with. And running a business is pretty hard. And then for somebody to dismiss you because, you're a woman, is just completely unfair. And then we also need to address a lot of things, and we need to start our young people very early to get them to introduce them to the sector. One of the things that I see a lot when I talk to young people is, excuse me, somebody wants to study, let's say for example, she wants to become a mining engineer, and then she goes, oh, but if I do that, I will not get married, so I have to go for something softer.
We hear that a lot in Canada, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was going to, ask you to speak to the young girls or young women who want to get into mining, construction industry, or the industries that have been customized to be male-dominated. What message are we sending to them this morning?
Well, the message that we're sending them to this morning, for them this morning is, what? If you love engineering, you love mathematics, you love science, go for it, because you know what? At the end of the day, when you get married, if you choose to get married, marriage is about a partnership. Your partner will not put you down, will not suppress you, will not disempower you. And also, men love to be with empowered women. And it's also for the benefit of this country. So we need those brilliant minds. You are smart, you are capable. Go for it. Don't let, some stories, discourage you from having a beautiful career in the industry. You can be the CEO of a mining company, so go after it.
Absolutely. And what is also looking ahead for Belts Mining?
Well, Belts Mining, I am hoping that we can actually start drilling as soon as the weather permits. So that is my ask to the government and to the people of Zambia, that we should actually get on the ground and start work and create employment. So we're very close. My team will be coming in the next 2 weeks. We've already got people in dollars, so there's already mobilization done. And so I'm very, very much looking forward to creating employment for our people, and coming back home and doing this with my people is just absolutely incredible. We are so blessed. Zambia is such a lovely, lovely country.
Absolutely, Nkandu. We are very excited to host you back home, and of course, for what Belts Mining also will hold for the future, for the young woman, for the girl, and just, the entire nation at large. Looking forward to actually even, hearing a lot more from you. Thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you. Your story. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds and what this country has to offer.
Absolutely. That was Nkandu Belts, founding manager and CEO of Belts Mining. Thank you so much for listening and, of course, watching us. Thank you also for sharing, your story. She was sharing a very, very powerful story, basically just transforming women, not leaving any woman behind, inclusivity as well, as there is no restriction whatsoever for what you can do as a woman. You want to get into mining, you have to do that, construction, engineering, any career that you feel you can get into. It is all in your hands, and of course you're powerful, you are capable. After this short break, we'll be back with the ladies. We'll be able to read your messages, even as we'll be almost saying goodbye on the show. Keep it locked.
Hi, my name is Constance Nalishebo-Mlearai, the mayor of Livingston. I also happen to be the 8th wonder of the world, and you are watching Prime TV 2. Hi, my name is Constance Nalishebo-Mleabai, the Mayor of Livingston. I also happen to be the 8th wonder of the world, and you are watching Prime TV 2.
Early in the morning, fire on the stove, love in a pie, that's the life we know. Yeah, the taste of home, prime meal, the taste of home, prime meal, the taste of home. Mama in the kitchen, we never eat alone. Prime meal, the taste of home.
Prime Meal, pure, proudly Zambian. The taste of home.
henna muligisi idekoda ya Topstar amwebere magani atugwa munchiri agasimpe amumasena momukala ambunga abahimu wezelela twambo bahomega abahimulimo twamwetela magani muhyogo yonse hajihi ana majaja wa Prime TV 2 channel 110 ninganda ileta magani mbwabele.
Before 2022, millions of Zambian children stayed home, not because they didn't want to learn, but because school was unaffordable for many families. Today, things are much better. No more tuition fees, no more PTA fees, and no more examination fees. More than 2.5 million children are back in class across the country, from villages to towns, from the cities to the districts and provinces. Schools are feeding our children and classrooms are full again. And with the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund, communities around Zambia are transforming education. More classrooms are being built, more desks are being made, more teachers are being hired. Because Bali cares. He has delivered this for all children across Zambia. Because free education is not just a policy, it is a promise to every Zambian child, a promise that poverty will not decide their future. A promise delivered.
This is Mwamba, the Deco Queen. She turns spaces from mayo to wow. She could fly to China for new products, but why pick jet lag when you've got the Airtel Money Global Pay Card? No flights, no visas, just browse, pay, done. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your Global Pay Card details, CVV, and expiry date. Simple. Be like Mwamba. Get your Global Pay Card in the Airtel Money section of the My Airtel app and top it up straight from your wallet.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure,
Meet Suilanji. Curious, creative, always learning. New skills, global trends, she's in on it. Design or tech, she's exploring the best international options. And with the Airtel Money Global Pay Card, paying is the easy part. One quick tap and she's learning from the best. No stress, no visa, no problem. Even her parents are getting in on it. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your Global Pay Card details, CVV, and expiry date, and that.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Meet Mundia. He ditched the 9-to-5 to build his brand. And yeah, he's crushing it. With the Airtel Money Global Pay Card, he's not just buying ad space, he's building hype. He pays for ads the same way he sells most of his shoes. Online, fast, and always on. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your Global Pay Card details, CVV, and expiry date. That's it. The Airtel Money Global Pay Card, that's what keeps it moving. Be like Mundia. Get your Global Pay Card in the Airtel Money section.
All right, thank you so much for staying glued to this Women's Day special edition right here on Prime TV 2. Now, of course, across Zambia, women are at the center of the small and medium enterprise sector. From markets to workshops, farms to small manufacturing spaces, women do continue to drive economic activity that contributes significantly to the country's growth. Despite their resilience and hard work, many women entrepreneurs still face serious barriers, limited access to capital, limited training opportunities, and sometimes even societal expectations that, of course, discourage them from entering certain industries. A very good example is a story of a 52-year-old Gertrude Lubinda, a woman who has taken up a profession traditionally dominated by men, carpentry and joinery. And Miss Lubinda, a mother of 5, ventured into carpentry after her husband abandoned the family and relocated to Kasama, leaving her with the full responsibility of raising their children. Michael Himosa Jr. has the rest of the details.
Carpentry and joinery is a trade that has traditionally been dominated by men. But at Livingstone's Maramba main market, 52-year-old Gertrude Lubinda is breaking that stereotype. Miss Lubinda, a mother of 5, ventured into carpentry after her husband abandoned the family and relocated to Kasama, leaving her with the responsibility of raising their children. Despite the physically demanding nature of the job, she says she has remained determined and continues to compete with her male counterparts in the trade.
I started this business after my husband left me, went in Kasama. So that's how I managed to come here, to start working here. I have to put myself into it because as I am now, I'm more than experienced than those who are just moving up and down, begging, but I'm able to feed my children.
Through her carpentry work, Miss Lubinda has managed to support her 5 children. However, she says the income she generates is not always enough to meet all their needs and has appealed to well-wishers to support her with capital to expand her business.
Manga business yanga yanivuta ko pangono watu kumunga kulibana. Avuta kaenda ba business apa idi slow. Pakutu ste manage pezendrama zolipira nyumba, it's very difficult. Because mwamina omukagulisa ulipira mu nyumba, peleke bana ku school, gulemo vokudya, otherwise because even capital is the problem which I'm facing. So even the material, some people, so I need an assistant to buy me some machines.
She further explains that she has made several attempts to access empowerment funds but has not been successful so far. Miss Lubinda now hopes the government can consider giving her opportunity to supply school desks under the Constituency Development Fund.
I tried, but everywhere I go, they say, wait, we shall call you. So I've been looking for someone who can help me. Like now, manja pa menediko. Kainda pa ba new don government bakamba kudarati. Mazati tandiza. Kutitizipanga madeski. So we are waiting for that.
Meanwhile, Neftali Tembo, a fellow carpenter at Maramba Market, says he is impressed by Miss Lubinda's dedication and skill, noting that she performs the work just as well as any man in the industry.
When we see ladies come into this business, I'm very much interested also because they should not just stay home when they can do something. Things nowadays, they are hard. Just as it is, the person who was here right now, she's having 5 daughters, no male. Then the husband went away. But she's managing where she feels she cannot do it. She consults, say, oh, how can I go about it here? Then we say, okay, here you can do this, can do this. Then she makes a chair, she makes a table, she makes beds. She's able to make more chairs on her own now because she seeks for advice and we give her the advice.
As Zambia commemorates International Women's Day, Miss Lubinda has encouraged fellow women to raise above challenges and work hard rather than resorting to begging on the streets.
Abantu ayinika kuzipereka munga ise munga mwena ziperekerera inkuno. Dan kuti vazienda vazipempa okunao kwa mukazi akwanisa kushita vili vose akwanisa munga nchita chimuna. That's why mwana winangu ma truck drivers munga uja mkazi uja South Africa ama pita na truck hapa. Winangu ni taxi driver hapa. So then kuti bazinka chebe manyumba bangotamba chebe ma TV mpa ma remote chabe. Bangenamu na hivi balishako ni vambili vintu vochita.
As women across the country celebrate their rights under the theme for all women and girls, rights, equality and empowerment, it is hoped that hard-working women like Miss Lubinda will receive the recognition and support they deserve to grow their businesses and improve their livelihoods.
Wow, what a phenomenal story. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Miss Lubinda's story is one of courage, resilience, and of course, determination. But it also highlights an important issue, the need for empowerment and access to financial support to grow such businesses. And of course, to help us unpack this issue, I am joined by Lucy Mwimanzi, who is the operations manager at ASA Microfinance Zambia Limited, an institution that works with small business owners, you know, many of whom are women. Welcome to our program this morning.
Thank you so much. Good morning to you and good morning to our viewers.
All right, now we have just watched a story of Miss Lubinda, a woman working tirelessly in a male-dominated industry to support her family. From your perspective as someone who works closely with small businesses, what goes through your mind when you see stories like this?
Well, you see, there has been a gap between men and women in terms to access to finance. However, if you look at ASA Microfinance Zambia Limited, which I'll briefly speak about for the context of this interview, ASA Microfinance has been in operations, of course, from 2019. And our main focus primarily is to give access to women entrepreneurs. So if we look at the story that has just played, ASA is here to fill a gap. There are several women who do not have access and fear to reach out to traditional banking. Yeah, and this is where ASA Microfinance comes in. For us, we give loans from as low as 3,000 kwacha to up to 20,000 kwacha. So we're really looking at the low income earners, the micro entrepreneurs, because we're there to try and help them improve their livelihoods, improve their communities. So as we empower women, we know that we are empowering a community. Yeah.
And Ms. Lubinda's story is quite amazing. It highlights quite a number of, you know, challenges that women go through in accessing finances. But from what we just watched, what would be your comment, you know, on her story?
My comment is that women should not feel challenged. You see, there is so much potential among our women. We see women going through so many challenges, so many obstacles, and some of these are based on cultural norms. But if you look at the history of microfinancing, it started with women. It was started by Mr. Yunus back in the 1970s, and what he noticed was a gap. These women were having challenges, and he gave them a little bit of money to take them out of that cycle. So we've seen that this gap will be bridged through microfinance. And microfinance can have the capacity. There is no difference between a man and a woman. We saw in this video, the lady was conducting carpentry. Yes. Roles that are most likely termed to be male-dominated industries, and that is not the case. This day and age, we see women truck drivers, we see women engineers. In all the different industries, the women are able to take bigger roles. Yeah.
All right, interesting. Now, you just briefly highlighted on what, you know, your institution does, but you work with many entrepreneurs. How exactly does ASA Microfinance support women like Ms. Lubinda, who have the skills and of course determination, but lack the capital to expand their businesses?
Okay, I'm glad that you brought up the aspect of expanding the business, because ASA Microfinance, of course, deals with women who are already conducting a business, no matter how small, and that is what is key. We don't look at how big your business is. What we want to do, in essence, is to grow that business. So even if you're selling tomatoes and your turnover is only 200 kwacha, we have flexible, accessible credit facilities. And we verify, we go and check the businesses. We also help these women by helping them, by giving them more information, helping them understand budgeting, record keeping, because it allows them to have a financial footprint which helps them in gaining access to finance in different institutions, including ASA Microfinance. So what we do, we have seen women actually grow, even in ASA Microfinance, and there are quite a number of success stories. I'll talk about Miss Rose, and who's at one of our branches in Kawata. She lives around Libala area. Her first loan at ASA was 4,000 kwacha. She came and what she was selling was charcoal. Over the years, she's still a loyal customer up to now, and I'm happy to say that she does not default. So what it is we help the business grow. And even as we give that credit facility, we evaluate the type of business and we'll guide you. If we feel you're able to have more access to a larger amount of money, we will tell you about that and help you get a bigger value loan. And if we feel it is not, we'll guide and also say, look, maybe in the next cycle you can come through and get. So as I speak, Miss Rose moved on. She diversified her sources of income. She moved to selling TVs or some electronic products. And I'm happy to say that she's even built 4 houses in the township where she's staying, and taken her children to school through the provision of credit facilities by ASA Microfinance Zambia.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for sharing that amazing success story from ASA. Now, one of the biggest complaints among small entrepreneurs is that of accessing loans, which can be very difficult, especially for people who do not have collateral. Yes. What are the requirements for someone like Ms. Luinda to qualify for financial support from your institution?
ASA Microfinance Zambia has got a very good model, and we do not collect collateral, I should say. This is a serious challenge for most entrepreneurs, because if you are only starting from the bottom and you have a very small amount of income, where then are you expected to have a motor vehicle to act as your collateral? Where are you going to get a house to act as your collateral? See, ASA Microfinance is here to help the community from the grassroots. Our model requires that you join a group. For us, we leverage on the group model with individual liability. So the benefit of this model is that when you call someone into your group, the understanding is you trust this person, you know this person. These are people from within your neighborhood. These are people that you work with. These are people that you conduct business with. So our model requires that you join a particular group. And once you're part of that group, of course, we conduct our normal due diligence in terms of lending, and then you have access to the loan. We have weekly payments, which allows our women entrepreneurs and our entrepreneurs in general to budget and be able to pay small bits of their repayment on a weekly basis. Yeah, that is about ASA.
Interesting. Now, many small business owners say financial institutions sometimes make access to, loans complicated, particularly for grassroots entrepreneurs. Maybe let's talk about, before we get into this, let's talk about maybe the rates. Yes. Some people would complain, business owners would complain about the rates being high in Zambia, especially if you want to acquire a loan.
Yes.
How flexible is it with ASA?
So for ASA, our rate is at 5% per month. However, I wish to say that this was reduced last year from 5.5 to 5%, and we hope in future we can have more competitive rates that will be helpful for the entrepreneurs. In terms of flexibility, our loan tenures assist. So for certain clients, they would prefer to have loans running for 6 months, and then we also have loans running for 12 months. This allows our members to budget and plan adequately based on the capability of their business.
Okay. Now, also the SME sector is often described as the backbone of Zambia's economy, and many of these businesses are actually run by women. From your experience, how would you describe the state of women-led businesses in Zambia today? Are they growing, struggling, or surviving under difficult conditions?
Okay. It's good to know that in the recent years, we've had a lot of women entrepreneurs. If you go on any social platform and any business platforms these days, you see a lot of women entrepreneurs. Yes. However, business, of course, challenges. Women entrepreneurs are definitely growing. You can see from different even non-gender aligned roles. Mostly women would be growing, would have hair salons and whatnot. But these days we see women in construction, we see women-led businesses in different industries. So my simple answer is yes, women-led businesses are growing.
Okay, so your institution is also known for supporting many women entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Why has ASA Microfinance placed such a strong focus on supporting women in business?
There's always a saying that goes, empower a woman, empower a community. And women always give back to the community. When a woman gets a loan, their main aim is to ensure that their family is empowered. They give back into the community and the society as a whole. This is one of the main cornerstones of why ASA's focus is mainly women. I should say that our portfolio is close to 40,000 clients at the moment, and over 90% of that credit facilities are given to women. So that is the essence. We understand that women empower their repayment systems, and footprint is also quite good. Yes.
And for those who may be interested in working with ASA Microfinance,
Yes.
How can the people find or access your services?
Okay, so we do have a website. Yes, ASA Microfinance. You'll be able to find it on the website. Our head office is in Omelo Mumba Road. We have we have 54 branches currently. So from as of 2025. Beginning of 2025, we had 39 branches, and we grew exponentially by adding 15 new branches to our network last year. We hope to reach all the 10 provinces of Zambia by the end of 2026. We are currently in 9. So ASA is accessible. It's there in your neighborhood. It's there in one of the roads that you pass. You can reach out to us, and of course, we'll be there to guide you on how best you can access our flexible and friendly loans.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Any message to the women watching you this morning?
Yes, absolutely. So I know this is about Women's Day, and the theme that has been given seems like a very simple theme, of course, give to gain. Only 3 words, but with a very profound meaning. And for me, I'll link this to leadership. When you give experience, you give guidance, what you're doing is empowering another person for the future generation. When you give access to finance, what you're doing is empowering the young generation, the woman who will be able to have enough finances to educate her children, to feed her children, and make the community better. So I should say that this is a very profound theme this year, and I hope everyone can put it into practice and try to understand it at a deeper level. Yes.
Thank you very much, Miss Lucy, for that explanation, and for giving us details on what your institution is able to do, and how young entrepreneurs can actually access some of your services. Thank you so much for coming through to our program.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we certainly hope that stories like that of Ms. Lubinda will definitely inspire more support and opportunities for women across the country. We will now take a short break. We'll be back on the other side as we wrap up our program with the ladies.
is Mwamba, the deco queen. She turns spaces from mayo to wow. She could fly to China for new products, but why pick jet lag when you've got the Airtel Money Global Pay Card? No flights, no visas, just browse, pay, done. At checkout, just pick MasterCard and enter your global pay card details, CVV, and expiry date. Simple. Be like Mwamba. Get your global pay card in the Airtel Money section of the My Airtel app and top it up straight from your wallet.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, boot.
Indeed, financial inclusion for all women is encouraged. Hope you have been inspired with all the many stories that we have had for you this particular morning from wherever in the world that you have been watching us. Ladies, what a show this has been. If what we've had doesn't inspire you, then what will?
Indeed.
Definitely, Naomi. You know, from powerful stories of determination to conversations about leadership, celebrate strength, resilience, and brilliance of women everywhere. And from the homes to the boardrooms, from classrooms to communities, women do continue to shape the world, and of course, with courage, wisdom, and not only that, but determination as well. And we did mark International Women's Day. Let's not this day, you know, be just one day celebration, but also to remind us that the journey towards equality, respect, and opportunity for every woman and girl must continue. So to every woman that was watching us today, your voice matters, your dreams are valid, and of course, your power is unstoppable.
Absolutely. A few quick 10 facts about women, girls, before we close off, and the gents should pay attention to this. So women use an average of 20 words per day. 20 words. Women. And men, pay attention. Women have mastered the art of multitasking as well. We do that. That is our gift, right? Women have a special relationship with chocolate. Do you?
Kind of, partly.
Unfortunately, the woman here cannot relate.
Women historically have achieved unconventional success. With the success stories that we just shared, some truth there. Women have a green thumb with plants. Right. I do see a lot of women sharing on their statuses about the plants that they have in their homes. Women's friendships are like Wi-Fi, invisible but powerful. Women's creativity turns everyday objects into extraordinary possibilities. And women's intuition often serves as a guiding light. We have the sixth sense. What do you call that? Yes, women are the pioneers of the power nap. When we do have that power nap, magic happens. And women's shopping skills blend hurting, gathering, and pure joy. Remember when we began, we spoke into how we have to master impulse buying. Yeah, there are those women that I know, if they're having a bad time, shopping will actually be able to help.
Exactly. So one thing to just carry along as a takeaway, as a woman, those of you that are celebrating Women's Day and those of us in the studio. So one thing that you should know is we know about women is acknowledging our struggles, you know, recognizing barriers as well. And women also face such as gender inequality, discrimination, or also society pressures. Number two is honoring strength as a woman. So appreciating women who continue to push forward despite uplifting others and shaping a better society is also a takeaway on that one. And also inspiring action, which is showing the resilience that isn't just about surviving, but also creating change, uplifting, and shaping a better society. So for example, it overcomes barriers to education or leadership, and also families and communities. So this message is for you women. This is a takeaway to say you should always a simple step starts with a conversation that is to lead to opportunities, and also remind us that one is inspired by action, courage, and hope. So if you're a woman out there, just be hopeful, be courageous, stand up and do what you have to do.
Don't forget to give women what?
Money.
Your friend actually got in trouble. They were dumped because they received money from an ex. But
that's not a problem,
those are conversations
is it?
for another day.
All right. Thank you so much for watching today's edition of, or this year's edition of Women's Day. We're so glad that you joined us, earlier on. For the people that studied with us, for those of you that are just joining us, you might have missed out quite a lot, but we will continue with our Women's Day celebrations because we do have some special interviews for the rest of the day. From us and the entire production team, we say goodbye and enjoy the rest of your day.
Hi, my name is Constance Nalishebo-Mleabai, the Mayor of Livingston. I also happen to be the 8th wonder of the world, and you are watching Prime TV 2.